You're listening to 1069 Click FM, live in.
Now, is it just me, or does it seem like we are gifted with a fresh batch of nonsense every single week, one way or another? Well, thank goodness we are, if that's true, because at least we have something to laugh at along the way. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Ass Talk here on 1069 Click FM, where we sift through the noxious cloud of sports prognostication in search for a few little nuggets of truth, where I invite people to correct me and share info, because the more we know, I think the better off we are. In case are unable to tell, Angie is hiding over here. She does not want to be involved in any of the nonsense today. She might still be angry about Chris Paul. Who knows? But let's see, Luke Kung Fu, MKI, William, everybody else who may just be chilling and just listening, thank you very much for being here. I do appreciate it. I know you have lots of options in your half-assed sports discussion, and I'm so glad you chose my show, which today is sponsored by Screw City Lager from the Prairie Street Brewing Company. Like I always say, you never forget your first trip to Screw City. And if you do, well, you probably weren't really there. There we go. So, I wanted to start with everybody's favorite subject, but we have gotten some, all-star news that the Rangers are the first team with 5 starters. Their catcher, second baseman, shortstop, and third baseman will all be in the lineup for the American League. Dang. And in case y'all didn't know, Tuesday night is also, funnily enough, when I'm going to be doing the next Power of Duck stream. Funnily enough, at the same time as the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. So once again, you'll have a choice in viewing. Yeah, I am Luke. I am not sure what's going on. I've looked through. It's not in my board. I think it might just be a cable thing. I'm going to look at it after the show because I wasn't about to pull my entire setup apart just to fix a balance issue. So, yeah. It's not just you. It's something weird that's going on and I just haven't solved it yet. And I thought it'd be okay just for today. Thank you for interrupting, Angie. I do appreciate that. Nope, not going crazy. At least not for that reason. Quack indeed. So, everybody's favorite subject, the Ashes. England and Australia playing each other in cricket multiple times over the space of about a month. They're on test number 3, match number 3. Currently, England is leading by, honestly, fewer runs than they have in previous tests. And, Luke, from your reactions, it seemed like the bowlers for England were doing relatively well. You want the wicketkeeper either buried up to his head in sand. Australia, yeah, I saw Australia are still leading. I saw that Australia are still leading, but honestly, I think you guys still have a decent chance if your bowlers can keep them under control for the rest of the wickets. And yes, as MKI said, I broke the CFL last night. We'll discuss that in a moment. But I also was curious about something, which I took the time to look up. Now, if any of you have ever seen even a couple seconds of a cricket match involving a complete throw and a swing, you know that there is this elaborate, like, run and wind up. And I looked up the rules for how a ball is supposed to be bowled in cricket. Just curious to see if it was as complicated as, the rules for pitching in the major leagues can be, where you have to have your feet, the timing of things, and I thought the pitchers had it bad in Major League Baseball for all the possible ways they could be called for a balk. They have to worry about position of feet, whether the umpire knows which arm they're batting with properly, if they're essentially their arm ends up doing an impression of a trebuchet while they prance forward, leaping a couple times, and then swing the ball. They can only let their elbow hyperextend so far before it's not a legal throw anymore. My goodness, it makes all the pitchers complaining about getting searched for tar in between the innings sound like a bunch of crybabies, to be honest. And Luke clarifies, your wicketkeeper, Johnny Bairstow, paraded through the streets with everyone shouting shame. You mean they don't already do that for cricket? Seems like it would fit right in. But yeah, considering all the limitations that cricket bowlers have to put on themselves for what parts of their body can't move and can move, I'm amazed that these guys can, get the ball up to 85 miles per hour. It's a pretty, I gotta admit, pretty humbling and gives me much more respect. Before you fucked your knee up, you were a bowler. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, so anybody who ends up taking the time to get the rules right and know how to bowl properly, as someone who very briefly wanted to be a pitcher in baseball, hats off to you. You're doing the work. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised if they do if either of those teams play against India or Pakistan at some point. Uh-huh. Yeah. And 96.5 doesn't sound that bad to us. But pitchers are allowed to bend their wrist and use a lot more of their body as basically a human sling. So there are a lot of tricks and a lot of manipulation from basically a standing start to throw that fast. We share the info that England played Pakistan last fall, will play India in the winter. Groovy. And welcome, by the way, Logan. Hope the day has been treating you well. And yeah, we watched some CFL last night. If you weren't there for it, it was a time. I think it was an odd way to introduce the game to somebody who had never watched it, because although I got to understand, how a CFL game works with the 3 downs, the yardage, how they apply the penalties, and how the rouge works, the single point that you can get from essentially pinning your opponent in their own end zone with a kick. Last night, apparently, winning by a single point because of a rouge, and not only that, but a rouge that was intentionally let into the end zone by the receiving team. Apparently that just doesn't happen. And don't get me wrong, I really like the idea of the rouge. It's essentially saying touchbacks are for wimps. Come on, do something with the ball. But 12-11 for a final score. We do horrible things to sports when we watch them on this show, don't we? And you beat Pakistan 3-0. Oh, yes. Once again, another countdown from Luke for the time until the Birmingham City Football Club is officially in the hands of new ownership. Forward indeed. And hello again, Angie. Oh, yeah. Yes, you are very angry. I could see that. You know, you could still walk your to it. Your tower's right there. The mic's not really in your way. The mic's not in her way. She just has decided she wants to be here now. Yes. While you're here, Logan, because this was one of the subjects I wanted to cover today. After this season and all the nonsense that happened with the wild cards and especially Jacksonville and everything there, I kind of have a greater appreciation for how things are going in the NL Central. It's essentially a two-team fight right now between the Cincinnati Reds, who'd have thought, and the Milwaukee Brewers, who are currently 2 games back for the division lead and only 1 game back for taking the last wild card spot from the Philadelphia Phillies. So, we were very, very close, MKI, to getting 11-10. Yeah. I think I know which thing you're talking about, Luke, and just to quickly 86 the subject, that's aside from the annoyance of the weird 2000s plague of ukuleles and the playing thereof that came up, that incident just has multiple disturbing things folded into it that I'd rather not go into right now. Thank you, and you're welcome. So anyway, what I want to ask you, Logan, if you're still around, is I know the series between the Brewers and the Reds start today. I'll be live for Game 2, but I believe they are playing today as well. What do you think is going to be able to put the Brewers over top Cincinnati as things stand right now? And for everybody else, if you do want to watch that game, it's going to start at 7:10 Central Time. And you're playing in Milwaukee tonight. Starting pitcher for the Reds is going to be Abbott. And starting pitcher for the Brewers looks like it will be Burns. Yeah. That's the problem. There could be some good stuff on it, but most people use it in the most basic awful kind of ways. As a part of something bigger, it can add to a great effect, but special occasions that call for it by itself in a voice, and most of the time those criteria don't get met. A shame. Oh, I'm doing good today, Luke. And I got writing done. I got shopping done. As you can see, I got shopping done, of course. I've been slowly catching up on sports stuff that I have missed. Enjoying that. I do regret that I have started paying attention again to all the non-stories that come out at this time of year from the NFL minicamps. Fights that happen, and out of context phrases that get pulled from conversations, and oh my gosh, look how swole Aaron Rodgers is right now. Sometimes the spectacle is just a little exhausting for me around the NFL. Just a little bit. Which is why it's nice to have these breaks and be concentrating on other sports. Wow. Speaking of which, I know the NBA and NHL free agency also started up. I am not optimistic about that the Maple Leafs will be able to get over the hump next year. I'm starting to think that their problems might be a little bit deeper than we previously thought. I am not sure their coach is right to lead them to a championship, and I'm worried about how much meddling Brendan Shanahan is going to do if he feels like he's not getting the result he wants out of whatever players are left whenever all this is done. Because I haven't heard any of the contract situations getting definitively wrapped up for any of the big offensive people that they still need to deal with, and those big paydays are coming up. Cordman, so far we have talked about England trying to come back to get a win in the Ashes for the third game. The fact that essentially pitching in cricket is difficult as hell because of all the rules they have to follow. It makes Major League pitching look like slow pitch softball. I don't think the Toronto Maple Leafs have really improved because I think they have front office issues that are preventing their team from developing the ways they should. That's just me, though. I'm an asshole. Asshole in his den office, talking about sports. I don't know why we haven't given up on the Coyotes yet, and they're so anxious to tell us every player that goes over there. But that's it so far. I know that the spring games for the NBA have started as well. We're still getting through the last of some college sports, and others are just about to gear up again with their practices. It's a never-ending cycle. Yes, the curse of Harold Ballard. The curse of Harold Ballard. Are his footprints like really in cement beneath the ice of where they play now, or was that just in their previous arena? Honestly, Logan, if if the Leafs keep losing and it starts getting to Chicago Cubs length of championship drought for them, I would not be shocked if at some point a fan campaign starts up to get Harold Ballard's footprints and cement signature out from underneath the ice. No, I know it doesn't, but it's also just an indicator that the sports world is moving on and the other stuff will be here before we know it. I'm not sure. I think the difference is I expect more out of the Panthers because of their coach. I think he absolutely made everyone on that damn team play over their heads. And with every last bit of energy they could, and then by the time they got to the finals, they were wasted. But still, the Packers have interest in Sam Darnold as a backup, number 3, QB coach, beer vendor. Oh, well, of course, with those players, yeah, of course, MKI. They want the Maple Leafs to be physical, but that's why they ended up getting a number of those other people, Luke Shen, Ryan O'Reilly. And, for however physical they were, they still kept getting punched in the mouth back. And not really doing anything about it. Oh, God, that's right. Is he still with the 49ers? Oh, that's right. And we still have to wait to see which 49ers QB is going to be put into the starting position or will be alive and mostly healthy by the time opening day rolls around. I also wonder if Sheldon Keefe knows how to coach a team into that mindset. And whether he was relying on the players who had the previous experience of the playoffs and the Stanley Cup runs to just motivate themselves and, by extension, all the other players on the team. You hear it's going to be Purdy? Well, I mean, that would be a nice, that would be nice. Another good bit of luck for the former Mr. Irrelevant. Yeah, I mean, it's an odd carousel, but the Niners QB carousel has been kind of going in a way. They haven't been able to find like a one quarterback that they know they want to stick with for a long period of time. And then, of course, the injuries. Oh, the injuries. I say Shanahan wants Purdy. Okay. At this point, I think Ishii just wants a quarterback, Working legs, working arms, mostly working mind so that, he's still physically capable of walking, tying his own shoes, and throwing the ball. That would probably be a bonus. All right, what else was I going to cover? Oh, yeah, there's going to be the Britain Grand Prix this weekend, for those of you who celebrate that sort of thing. And no, not too much else that I can think of on that front. Well, let me hear from all of you. What are some of the what are some of the sports things that you think I probably have missed and that are important to know? While I get Angie dealt with and out of the way. Ooh. Speak, Angie. Speak to your people. You're not going to speak to your people? Put her right in front of the mic and she goes quiet. Oh my goodness, the Big Ten expansion, USC and UCLA. That's going to be an absolute comedy of errors when that's going to be starting this fall, right? With those two teams joining up for the Big Ten football schedule. Mm-hmm. It'll start 2024. Oh. Plenty of time for the Schadenfreude to come rolling in. And Saquon Barkley still hasn't signed his franchise tag. Oh, no. That sucks, William. I'm sorry. Texas joining the SEC. Yeah, I thought I had heard of a bit of movement between the Big 12 and the SEC. I wasn't sure about it, though. I don't follow enough of the news on the college front very closely. Nope, just a lot of loud meowing. Pay no mind. And apparently we decided to get into some back and forth between these two. Oh, Angie just typed this, by the way. It's very important. She wants you all to read it. It will be Oklahoma and Texas who will join in 2024. Gotcha. Oh, believe me, MKI, she will speak more given the opportunity. Yes, I'm talking about you on the internet. You know, you could talk into the mic. You could address your people. Oh. But every time I try to bring you closer to it, you howl and move away. The Big 12 is trying but failing to get Pac-12 teams into their conference. Damn. Honestly, I can't wait until there's another big split of the SEC teams, because everybody keeps joining it to get in on that big money. And they have to do it instead of like East and West. They have to do like Northeast, Northwest, Southwest, Southeast. Oh, it'll be so dumb. So dumb. But truly, I'm here for it. All right, let me give a thought here. Is there anything else really hanging over our heads in the sports news world that Because honestly, aside from like, normal free agent signings and, you know, guess who's jawing at each other in mini camp this week? There doesn't seem to be doesn't seem to be anything really great or earth shattering happening right now. Oh, more details from Cord. Man, Arizona was going to sign with the Big 12, but then they backed out for unknown reasons. They probably lost their keys. Logan says that, I'm assuming that you mean by Wisconsin will give USC and UCLA the Nebraska welcome to the Big Ten. Grit Pac-12 eventually, yeah. As do go so many programs and rivalries and divisions. Oh God, the Damian Lillard saga. I'm going to be very interested in what the Trailblazers decide to do, because it seems like there was a limited number of teams who, one, could afford Damian, two, want him, three, are willing to give things up for him that will be worth, that will equal his worth as a player. And I am hard-pressed to think of teams that could fit into each of those circles on the Venn diagram that I have just put into the air right over here. Oh, but then they would lose that wonderful exclusive contract that they had with NBC. Do they still have that contract with NBC to televise all their games, or do they finally give that up? As I know for years that it was a given that no matter what, across the country, you could watch Notre Dame football on NBC. They don't have that anymore. Oh, I think that's a relief. Hey, maybe if they run out of notable alumni or money or, I don't know, washing detergent, maybe they'll join the ACC, but for now, I think they still got a pretty good grift going. Oh, by the way, Big Ten still's trying to get them to join. I guess good luck with them. Has anyone been able to figure out why the Baltimore Orioles are suddenly good? Because it's still confusing me. And I'm not sure where to start looking. Luke says they're ACC in all but name only. Oh. So they're treating it just sort of like a friends with benefits sort of thing. They get to have a regular schedule, but they don't really have to say they're in the ACC. Oh yeah, those sort of things always end well. Yeah, you know what? Unless in the next fuck it. I'm out of things in my head, and it's summer. I think we can give ourselves all a break and not worry about, trying to stretch out the conversation to any more than it needs to. I don't feel the need to fill time. I don't have another person to bounce off of, and you all don't need to listen to me yammering about nothing for another 15 minutes. So, meanwhile, SDSU is still planning on joining the Pac-12, trying to add AMU and Boise State. The constant realignment continues. Meanwhile, we're going to wrap things up here on Ass Talk. It's been a nice little diversion. I appreciate everybody stopping by this afternoon. Thank you so much for reminding me of all the stuff I've forgotten, and hopefully you may have learned a few things too. My name is Jim B. This has been 1069 Click FM. Thank you very much. Good night, Milwaukee, wherever you are.